Hey guys, happy Tuesday. Today is going to be our last day looking at tables in math class and finding patterns in tables. I'm going to show you one more version of a table using these patterns. It's going to be looking at rules and following rules. Okay, so we're still going to be building and making a pattern, but how we make that pattern is going to be based on a rule. So in your math notebook, go ahead and label at the top. Today is December 1st. Woo! December. Alright, here we go. If I write it on my board, you are going to write it in your math notebook. So this first one I'm going to give you, number 1, Rule C and Rule D. Rule C is going to say that we are going to start with 1 and then add 2. Rule D is going to say start with 5 and then add 2 also. Alright, so here is going to be my table. Remember, we're just going to try our best. We are not in art class. Alright, there we go. I'll give you a second to go ahead and make your table in your math notebook. You can try and use your lines in your notebook if you want to be a little straighter, but we're not going to be picky. Oh, I just lost power. Oh, power came back on. Woohoo! Alright, so Rule C is starting with, Rule C starts with what number? 1. Rule C starts with 1. And then after I start with my 1, it says that I add 2. So, I have 1, I add 2, and that would give me 3. I add another 2, it would give me 5. I add another 2, it would give me 7. What's going to be my last missing number right there? 9. Alright, let's look at Rule D. Rule D says I start with 5. So my first number is going to be 5. And then I add 2. So 5, 6, 7. I want you to find the next 3 numbers right there. So then I would have 9, 11, and then 13. So we still have our math in the form of a table. I still have patterns within my table, but instead of us finding the table, we're going to follow these rules. Alright, I think finding the rules and following the rules are even easier than the tables that we already did, because there's no mystery in the pattern. They're telling us exactly how to continue on that pattern. Alright, number 2. I'm going to give you the rule of E and F, and then I'm going to have you make the table. Both of them are going to start with 0. This one's going to be add 2. This one's going to be add 8. Alright, so then if we make a table here, Rule E is going to be on top. When you're making your tables, if they're using letters for the rules, always put your letters in alphabetical order. So E comes before F. Alright, I want you to go ahead and fill in our table here, following our rules at the top in your math notebook. Rule E says to start with 0, add 2. Rule F says to start with 0 and add 8. Alright, both of them start with 0, so I'm going to fill in my 0. Rule E says to add 2, so when I add 2 to 0, I get 2. Another 2. So I can skip count by 2's for that one. Alright, then my 8's, I add 8. So when I add 8 to 0, I get 8. And then you can go through your multiples of 8 to continue that one. 8, 16, 24, 32, and so on. And your table should look like this. Nice job, guys. Alright, one more. And instead of using addition on this one, we're going to look at subtraction. So let's do... Ooh, actually, I got a better one. We're going to do some division. So this is number 3. We're going to have rule C and rule D. Rule C is going to start with 64. Getting some bigger numbers here, that's why I like this one. Rule D is going to start with 128. And for both of them, we're going to divide by 2. So let's make our table. Rule C on top, and then rule D. All right, there you go. I want you to go ahead and complete that table now, and then we'll check it. One more minute. I want you to show your table to a friend who sits in your area. I just lost power again. Oh man, guys, hold on. Oh, there we go. All right, that just keeps happening. I keep losing power. I know there's lots of ice outside and lots of wind, and I live kind of in the country, so that's just what happens a lot for me when it's weather like this, at least. So I want you to turn to a friend right now, and I want you to show them your completed table, and I want you guys to compare your numbers in your table, see if you guys followed the rules accurately. If you guys disagree, I want you to discuss, see who maybe has an error in their computation and help them to correct it, please. Showing a friend in your area while you're sitting. All right, so rule C is going to start with 64, and rule D starts with 128. All right, looking at rule C, I divide by 2. So that might be something that you can't do in your head, so you might have to come down below your table, 64 divided by 2, and work that out. And when you do that, you get 32. Then you continue on, 32 divided by 2. Again, you might need to come down here, jot that down. And when you work that out, you would get 16. Now from here, it should be mental math. 16 divided by 2 is 8. 8 divided by 2 is 4. All right, when you come down here then to rule D, 128 divided by 2. Again, we probably are going to need to write that out. Okay, remember we're doing all of our math in our math notebook, guys, okay? So 128 divided by 2, and when you do that, you get 64. What is super interesting about 64, if you take a look at your pattern, 64, we already had, that's what started rule C. So now at this point, I shouldn't need to do any kind of computation because I can look up here at rule C, and both of my rule C and D were both dividing by 2. So after 64, when I divided by 2, I got 32. 32 divided by 2 was 16. And then 16 divided by 2 was 8. So a nice pattern we can use there to help save ourselves from doing extra work. If you went ahead and worked it out, there's nothing wrong with that, but I try and show you guys always the shortcuts so you guys don't have to spend extra time on it. Okay, I want you to do it correctly, I want you to do it accurately, and not make silly mistakes, but if we can make our lives easier in our math and save ourselves some steps, and we definitely want to take advantage of those. Okay, so definitely right there was an opportunity to take a look at rule C and use that to help us on rule D. All right, ladies and gentlemen, your math homework for tonight is I Know It Math. Working on some tables. Instead of just whole numbers on these tables, though, you're also going to have some decimals on there, okay? Take your time. I know you guys can do it. If you have any questions, send me a message on Schoology and let me know. Good luck, and make sure you guys get your homework done. All right? Bye.